justice for all.
All right. I just need a motion from the board to open our,
I'll make that motion.
Member Umberto in second,
I'll second.
Member Iannucci all in favor? And opposed? Meeting is open. Roll call for attendance. Keith Allen is not here. He's away, he let me know last week at some point. So Jeff Boucher, present. Member Hefnecker?
Present.
Member Iannucci?
Present.
Member Carlich?
Present.
Member Kelly should be here. He's coming from the city. Member Umberto?
Present.
Okay. And we have our professionals tonight. We have Attorney Cassidy.
Present.
And Engineer O'Rourke.
Present.
And we have our Building Inspector Cox. And first up on our agenda tonight is Verizon. So there we go. So I think what we have here, as you guys know, I think we're pretty much at the finish line. The only thing we wanted to talk more about, and probably I want to talk more about, and I'm sure the board can weigh in on it, is the landscaping. There's nothing specific in there. It's not said what's going to be put in, how high, and so forth. So we'd like to make that as part of the condition.
Sure. What is the board thinking in terms of the species?
You know, personally, I'm just thinking something that will block the view, especially from the road, arborvitaes.
I'm assuming it's not a deer, well, I shouldn't say that, but because of where it is, it's probably not a really deer traveled area.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, no.
Oh, you'd be really surprised.
Oh, really, just deer traveled.
They're there.
They're there.
I was, that's a big one. I was just in the town of Athens and they wanted coverage and they wanted us to do this jolly green
Arborvitae.
arborvitae.
Where they're
Grow
pushed.
very quickly.
Yeah, I've got them, they do a very good
Okay,
job.
There's a nice kind of.
They fill out,
together.
yep.
So we could certainly do that.
Yeah, and we want to plant it at least the height or higher than the fence, another foot.
6 or 8 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that height or higher.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm just updating, so everybody knows what I'm
I
doing.
mean, they might, arborvitae's, you know.
I have like 6 that I don't touch them.
Well,
What is it
it's
called?
certain
Jolly
Jolly,
Green?
Jolly,
Green
Jolly,
arborvitae.
yeah, Jolly Green. I've got them and they never
Yeah,
do.
touch
it.
Yeah, but it's only that style.
My arborvitae.
I did put something out to Ted Fink
Well,
and asked him. but
One
I didn't
conversation.
hear back. So,
Sorry.
well, she's just doing her thing.
Yeah, I know.
She's just writing it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Applicants to plant Jolly Green arborvitae as plantings, and our usual, this goes into all of our approvals.
In
and we
perpetuity.
maintain in perpetuity. To screen fencing, and I'm just gonna clarify this, screen the fencing between the streets, on the street side,
okay, correct.
fencing
Yeah, I think we
facing,
have it on the plans,
still.
Hmm.
general location.
The other side is screened by the natural vegetation already in existence.
Yeah,
It
whatever's-
backs up to the
Yeah.
existing tree line.
Correct.
John, any other comments or recommended conditions?
Not to be a nudge, and I'll refer to Jim, and it has nothing to do with this, the drop-off shed, which is located there.
That is the clothing bin drop box. We've always prohibited those in the past.
Yeah, and certainly,
And there's always been a note on there, but it's really up to the board because we don't have.
that's why I said I'm only a nudge, but I want to bring it up. So in the past, the board typically on those drop box areas, one, have either required it to be shown on the site plan or actually not permitted, depending on where it is. It's certainly not in the front wall at the edge of the road.
Where's theirs now? Do you know, John?
Right between their parking lot and,
And the road?
You
yeah,
can
so
see it right there.
where these guys are.
So it is on the plan?
It's right there.
Okay, so it's on the plan.
Well, they're referring to it, but it's right there,
Oh,
so.
you're talking about the plan for St. It wasn't on theirs.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on their
Right.
This
property
is an
plan.
amended site plan for the St. Paul's site, right? That's what we're.
Right.
They already had one, so they're amending this.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and it says
We
amended
did an
too.
amendment the last time for the freestanding sign.
Sign.
It's
Yes.
the same process. We're doing this again.
So basically, the board can say, yeah, John, shut up, we don't need it. You can say, just show it on the plan and it'll be part of the approval, or relocate it somewhere else. three options, but I just want to let the board be aware of that.
Do you have that right up again?
I would pull it up on Google.
So this is what we proposed, right? Site review, right? And then
Yeah.
right on the
And
road.
this is, it's just right on the road. This is their collection box here.
Yeah.
This is
I
where
got you.
they're gonna be going, and this is their collection box. That's already there.
I think we just moved it to the back behind,
I think-
by the dumpster.
Tells you how much I'm by there like 5 times a day. I never noticed it.
Yeah, most people do. And sometimes the box is gonna be ugly and board
Yeah,
members
without a
and
doubt.
kind of insane, so that's why it was always. It's usually 2 boxes. That's what I'm saying, we can do nothing, leave it there. I think normally I would say at least move it back so it's not so visible in the front, and put it into the back or the side, but.
Yeah, I think we could ask, they want to put it there for convenience to people and to let them know
Oh,
they
sure.
have.
So
when
that's
they
what I'm
have-
saying, maybe you don't wanna move it at all, but that's the only comment I would have on this application, everything else has been.
Yeah, I'm okay that it's on the, as long as it's on the plan. I mean, it's up to you guys. I have no problem with it where it is.
What, the clothing box?
Yeah,
I think that's unsightly.
okay.
Next time you drive by, look.
You know what? I guess
Say,
maybe
how did I miss
I
that?
guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe we could put some arborvitae's around it.
That's the church.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's a temporary thing anyway, right? It can be easily moved, I think.
It's probably movable, it's portable,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
So it's not like it's, so we could ask them,
You
you
just put it
know,
in the back of the parking lot or something.
yeah, to put it in a place that's not as visible.
So if that's the case, I would recommend that Elizabeth update the conditional approval saying that the existing shed be relocated. I would just be comfortable with outside of the front yard setback, I think it's probably sufficient.
Yeah, I think that's good too.
All right, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, in general, most
Yeah.
places that have those, they are kind of up close so people see them, you know, once you put them back, then they don't know where they are, so as long as there's
Yeah.
some attention to them.
If I may, I took the liberty of, give me 1 second, and I apologize, I uploaded these late to the OneDrive. I took the liberty of preparing a short environmental part 2 for purposes of our negative declaration, so I just want to go through that, and then I'll go through the resolution. All right, all of these are note of small impact may occur, and if you disagree with me, let me know. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? I said no. Will the proposed action result in a change in use or intensity of use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? I said no. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that caused establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, walking or walkway, excuse me? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact water as well as wastewater? No. Impair the quality, character, or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, etc.? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? And I wrote no. So long as everybody's generally in concurrence. And when I say no, the broad is no or small impact may occur as compared to the other answer, which is moderate to large impact may occur.
Any comments?
No comments.
Okay.
So,
So if you want to read the resolution into the record, Elizabeth?
whereas the Village of Monroe Planning Board is in receipt of an application for special use permit and amended site plan approval for the purpose of constructing a small wireless facility on the lands of St. Paul Lutheran Church. Whereas the Planning Board has received and considered the following: application dated June 16, 2023, including Federal Communications Commission radio station authorization Radio frequency analysis dated May 1st, 2023. Site compliance report prepared by Centerline Communications dated January 27th, 2023. Structural design letter dated May 10th, 2023, prepared by Tectonic Engineering Consultants. Land use determination dated July 27th, 2023. Short form environmental assessment form dated March 10th, 2023. Site plan prepared by Tectonic Engineering Consultants dated May 9th, 2023, last revised November 20th, 23, and John will check me later to make sure that that date is right. Comments of the village engineer, John O'Rourke, dated July 14th, 2023, September 5th, 2023, and October 18th, 2023. Comments of Clint Smith, PE, dated September 25th, 2023, and December 21st, 2023. Orange County Department of Planning 239 review dated December 11th, 2023. Planned sites map, Monroe, which was the additional sites, dated October 9th, 2023. Applicant responses to engineering comments dated August 25th, 23, October 17th, 2023. Applicant letter dated October 20th, 2023, as well as a second letter dated December 8th, 2023. Aerosmith development letter dated December 6th, 2023. Whereas the planning board has determined that this is an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas the planning board has caused an environmental assessment form part 2 and to be completed, and has further determined that the project will not have an adverse environmental impact. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board hereby grants amended site plan approval and special permit subject to the following conditions. This approval is subject to the terms and conditions of the special use permit attached hereto and made a part hereof. Applicant to pay all fees. Applicant to plant jolly green arborvitae as plantings and be maintained in perpetuity to screen fencing facing Still Road. Existing donation bin to be relocated outside front yard setback. Applicant obtain all permits pursuant to section 200-48.4 and 272F of the Village of Monroe Code. This approval shall expire if work is not initiated within 1 year. And then following that, the special permit, and I'm just going to read the findings. The board determines after review of all the application materials, consultant comments, and public comments that the applicant owner has satisfied the findings required by Village Code, section 248.2. In particular, the location and size of use, the nature and intensity of operations and traffic involved in or conducted in connection with it, the size of the site in relation to it, and the location of the site with respects to streets giving access to it are such that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is located. 2, the location, nature, and height, and the nature and extent of landscaping on site are such that the use will not hinder or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings. Operations in connection with any special use will not be any more objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, fumes, vibrations, or other characteristics that would be operations of any permitted use not requiring a special use permit. Parking areas will be of adequate size. Existing municipal facilities are adequate for the proposed use. You don't need municipal facilities. The property will be suitably landscaped to protect the neighborhood and adjacent property in perpetuity. Based upon these findings, the planning board approves the special permit subject to the following condition. And I have here the special use permit, and this is in accordance with our code, shall be to the applicant and shall be terminated upon the sale, expiration of the leasehold interest of the applicant, or a change to a permitted use that does not require a special permit or abandonment of the site unless otherwise authorized by the planning board. And then one question I have for the board is, we can, under our code, have an expiration date where they have to come and renew. I don't know that that's necessarily appropriate for a small cell tower, but it is available. I have it highlighted and we can modify as the board sees fit there.
The only question I had, did you put a minimum height on the arborvitae's?
I can on the site plan.
The site plan, right?
6 feet. And I am going to make one small tweak. I didn't actually resolve the negative declaration in what I read, so I will modify that when I get back to my desk. We'll resolve the negative declaration and then resolve to approve. embedded, I forgot to make it a resolution. So
Okay.
this resolution, if you adopted it, would include, would be a
The neg
like
deck.
this. Neg deck first, and then the grant of the site plan and special permit. Are there any other discussions?
Anything? Carol, nothing?
No.
No? Okay, so we need a motion then to approve.
So you're gonna, motion to adopt the negative, I'm actually gonna.
Okay, to adopt the negative declaration.
Motion to adopt the negative declaration.
Can I bootstrap it all together, or do you need that separate?
Yeah, let's do it separate so I can.
So we need a motion to adopt the negative
I'll
declaration.
motion, make that motion.
Member Iannucci, and second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Carries.
And then a motion to approve.
Yeah, so we need a motion to approve the site plan approval and special use permit as they were read into the record.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Member Iannucci,
And I'll second it.
Member Heffernaker again. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, Joe?
No.
Okay, so, okay, so the motion approval carries and is approved. Okay.
So I'll tweak my typos and,
Put it on the
circulate-
OneDrive again, and we're good.
Circulate the, resolution and then can circulate to the applicants.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Nope.
Okay, next up on our agenda is 310 Scunnamunk Street.
Aren't they
This is
going to
Larry.
have escrow?
What's up, Larry?
Want to have escrow?
They don't, but they will, because they're not going to be done yet.
But then who's paying for tonight's meeting?
All right, let's
They
see.
didn't really.
So this is gonna be
It's been a
a
whole
lot line improvement for a subdivision. And I think what we need a revised application, I believe, right, Elizabeth?
So I did send around an email, Larry, so I can respond. I think in light of everything that's going on, and particularly where we realize that the P does not have reversionary link, I'm gonna call it the P, the backwards P,
Yeah,
the
the
half
cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sac. Doesn't have reversionary language, and I think to create the cleanest record in light of the adjoining subdivision that we've had, they need grading. I think we process this all in one, we've processed this all in one fell swoop. Are going to submit a revised application for a lot line improvement, which is processed under your subdivision code, which is chapter 175. 175.5 says lot line, provides that lot line improvements that don't create new lots and do not increase nonconformities, which this is not doing. This is actually, there is no nonconformity, but it is also, it's adding land to the two lots. So I think it falls squarely in that. We don't have to process it further as a subdivision under the provisions of the code. So we will, I suggested to the applicant if he can get me that revised, he can resubmit the seeker we did 2 years ago.
Mhm.
We'll redate it, and then we can handle the grading lot line all in one fell swoop.
Yep.
Neither needs a public hearing. So we should be able to tackle that in fairly good order. I know you two were talking about, the issue on lot 1 with the basement and grading, which may or may not be altered by a new location of the house on the lot. So I think it'll be a nice, neat, clean approval, that can take care of all of that.
Right. So, I mean, I think you have that right, Larry, and I think tonight, we don't have a 239, we have to set out for a 239 on that, don't we?
We instructed,
You did already.
the plan was sent, did you send out the plat or just the grading?
I did, I haven't heard back from,
Okay,
Okay.
so it went out, so we're not gonna have an issue next month in February. So it'll be, if we get all those materials, we should be,
Now, do you want to copy the old secret form or?
honestly, I take the old secret form, make sure everything's still accurate, and updated, and hand it back to me.
one referencing the last.
Yeah, or, you know, reprint it. I'm not gonna make you do work that you already done. If there's something that's
I don't know
updated,
that we needed to. I wasn't
I
here,
know
so.
I mean, I would just change the language in it that,
Yeah.
lot line change to eliminate the,
Yeah, it's on computer, you can do it in
Yeah.
2 seconds, probably read.
well,
easily
three,
do it.
I have 2 fingers.
Did we need to do a lead agency on that at all with the,
did we, oh, that was a work session, so we can adopt, I don't have something typed, but you can, adopt lead agency. It's an unlisted action.
And again, not to be a nudge,
I'm the Debbie Downer, you're the nudge
I
today.
just want to point this out, because I did look at the proposed, let's say, right-of-way. And I think it'd be much cleaner if either the right-of-way down where by Scunnamunk is either extended out to the existing property lines, or a portion of that land is given to your neighbor, because you have a sliver based too high between the neighbor and the right-of-way.
Right.
And nobody is gonna own or maintain that, and that is my concern. So you could have either a wider right-of-way, or you could get the neighbor to join in the application and do a lot line change, if you remember. I'm thinking it's easier, but
I
I
just
just,
part of it right away, quite honestly.
yeah, because I'm just afraid that nobody's gonna maintain it, and it's gonna come back, and there's gonna be this gap.
Yeah.
So I
No,
would
good
say
call.
if
Yep.
you could clean that up. And also, this came in after the application deadline was, I got a review going out tomorrow, but we have a couple more comments referencing the original subdivision and the criteria that was noted therein, because I don't want this one to completely replace that one, because I didn't do that one, and I didn't know if there's any conditions on that, so.
Yeah,
Plan
well,
should-
none
So
of us,
just reference the
neither
old
of us.
plan.
Yeah, so the plan should reference, that.
I'll pull the old conditions, because some of them may not be applicable anymore.
And then the other was just, if you know of an update, like if a building's been removed, just take it off. If the driveway was removed, just take it off, because you have a date on there, and I don't want any confusion in the future that you're gonna say, oh, wait a minute, that building was removed, 8 months ago, and why is it not dated? So I think easy stuff to do before the submission deadline, which I believe is
Monday.
29th. So I'll have my comments out tomorrow. I'll do Larry. I think we can make them pretty quick, and then, so it shouldn't delay them. But I think it'll hopefully clean up the plan, so we're not doing this again.
Mhm.
5 years.
Yeah, I agree.
We missed something, so.
Can the planning board take action tonight for, was it lot 2, which has no,
I would
Issues.
prefer, originally I looked at it quickly, but
Yeah.
his lot line does alter
oh.
lot 1,
Okay,
so or lot 2.
got it.
It touches both lots. I
Right.
think it's 1 month, it's the middle of winter.
Yeah,
I promise
I know they talked about it, so.
Yeah, I
just
know.
didn't wanna-
Well, part of the question then, for next month, I get John's comments, I'll revise the subdivision plan. Should I also submit the 2 plot plans that he was looking for building permits on with the new lot lines?
Yes,
So basically, what they're gonna look like once the subdivision.
because then we
goes
can
through.
give you
Yeah.
both approvals.
That's the same.
at the
Yeah,
same
right.
time.
You should be able to get all the approvals.
Let's work out the building height, if you're gonna move it up, let's make
Yeah.
sure we're gonna meet that criteria for,
Yeah, for the
2-story.
2-story versus 3
Yeah.
stories. I think, I don't know if you saw our memos on that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's
But
quite
realistically, if
impressive.
you submit that and all those, you could be in February, get all the approvals and be done.
You said it, not us.
No, not this. Some things just don't seem to happen.
Any project I've ever worked on.
okay. And so then, do we want to declare lead agency? Because, I mean, that can be done.
There's no other, you could, but there's no other involved agencies, right?
No, we just need to, I mean, we could.
I was just thinking, the town with the,
February, but we can just, put it in one folder.
John, what about the town with the road coming through there? Because I think we,
Well, that was one of my comments, you're gonna see is, going through the other files and the minutes, the town is going to take ownership of that road. So
Okay, yeah,
one of my
right.
comments is
Yeah.
the right-of-way, it should be noted who's gonna be taking the right-of-way. So rather than going to the village, it's going to the town. They previously accepted it, and there's, I know there's a letter from the town that says they're gonna take it. So the right-of-way, rather than going to the village, is going to the town, which actually, you know, when this is all said and done, makes much more sense,
Mhm.
because the village doesn't wanna plow
Take care of it.
100 feet,
Right.
and then somebody else does it. So the
Right.
town's gonna take the whole thing, which I think is.
So then a lead agency is not necessary.
I'm just double checking.
Liz, because it's going to be on a town road, we still have to submit a 239.
But you already sent the 239.
It's-
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I don't,
And you don't have to do it.
but not for the new site plan that we did, yeah.
I'm not, because I think that the site plan portion is exempt, so they're getting what they need to see on the.
Okay, fine.
Just give me 1 second.
But that's your point of, I don't think it's necessary to do the unlisted action, but it doesn't hurt, and it's a regular meeting, so I think, again, belt and suspenders, so she's looking up, I just do.
Yeah, I'm
or
not,
declares its intent for the agency.
Yeah, for the seeker, and for seeker,
Cites it as an
unlisted action. Mhm.
um,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything.
just, nope, sorry, it's not a type 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, I could have told you that, I didn't know that's what you're looking for.
Just triple checking, there's only 45 items in type 2s.
So we could do that tonight, is take,
Yeah, so if I could just have a motion to assume lead agency and to.
And type it as
classify
a-
this as an unlisted action.
under seeker, yeah. So we need that motion from someone,
I'll make it.
okay? Member Iannucci,
Second.
and member Umberto, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, that carries. All right, I think,
One last question.
anything, yeah,
In one of the emails, I'm not sure who it's from, there was a question regarding the escrow. You want 5?
oh, that's, yes,
Oh,
yes,
Oh,
yes.
no, 500 won't cut it.
there's a,
Sorry.
so.
No.
We were in the process of, because this file was on both sides of when we transitioned from billing to escrow.
Right.
So you've got a little outstanding on the bills, so we'll send you a bill.
Don't send it to me. Never get paid.
Yeah, we'll send it to the client.
No, I'm
So
not
they're gonna
passing
get-
on to him, but.
they'll get a bill.
$1,500 escrow for when he submits the maps.
It's really, because it's an existing, you're doing a 2-lot.
Okay.
It's, the fee under the code is a 2-lot subdivision, which we only have 5, so it's 500. And then honestly, the escrow, assuming you square up on the fees, 500 should be more. If not, sorry.
And the
I'll tell him to get a hold of you.
the outstanding balance is 770
7,
and change. It'll have it in the letter exactly.
All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
You too, Larry.
Take care, Larry.
All right. So third up is Somni Restaurant. And this is to renew the special use permit. And so I guess so the board's up to date on this too, is this is really, we would need to approve the resolution to extend the amended site plan approval and special use permit approval.
Well, just for the record, and I did upload a resolution this afternoon to the OneDrive. This is a very unusual situation where we have a municipality was the initial applicant, and the municipality has since sold it. The municipality issued a permit under their auspices, for improvements. I'm not gonna get into whether that was appropriate or not. So our code, your site plan expires unless you get a permit within a year. Well, they kinda got the permit before they got the site plan approval. So the questions are there. And to ensure everybody is on the same page, I'm recommending that we take action to extend the existing March 22nd, 2022 approval so that everybody's clear that that approval is still in existence. And further, to further confuse things, we're allowed 1 year. So his original approval was good till March 22, 2023. I'm recommending we approve an extension till March 22, 2024. And then to add another little wrinkle, because we're not technically final, you've issued a conditional approval, because there are a number of conditions that you haven't signed it, Jeff, right? It's not like they're sitting on a signed site plan
No.
without getting their permits. I don't think the restriction on the 1 year applies to conditional. If they can't get it done by March 22nd, they can submit a letter to ask for additional time to do that. So what's, at this point, assuming we extend it, I don't even know that you need to do this. This is more for preservation of the record, including a very all over the place record. What's left to do is the satisfaction of John O'Rourke's comments, which have been provided to the applicant. We had required an easement. I have received that easement. Once it's signed and recorded, I've reviewed it, that easement is acceptable. So that easement just has to be signed and recorded
With the county.
with the county, at the county clerk's office, just like any other easement or deed would be recorded. And then, the other issue is the parking payment in lieu. I understand that your architect is working on that calculation. You can send that to John to review and make sure it's accurate. And then once we figure out that calculation, they can go to the village board for action on the payment in lieu, and for the village board to take action. So the village board would take that action. Those are the remaining.
Now, in the past, just so you know, the village, the planning board actually is the one that sends that recommendation to
Okay.
the village board.
Okay.
Under a letterhead through you. So
Which recommendation, Jim?
This is the parking in lieu.
In lieu of, right.
Right, so
Okay,
in
so
other
we can
words,
get
they're
that
gonna
letter
come up
out.
with the number, and you're gonna contact the village board.
Right.
Then
Right, yeah, we kick it up to
this is
them.
what the
Yeah,
planning board
so-
approved, and you're gonna move forward with that.
Right,
So I just need a number to put in that letter, and I can have that letter to you this week to sign to get to the.
right, so we don't have the, I mean, that's what the calculations do, so we couldn't,
Yeah, typically, they submit
Right.
a calculation to me, I review them, say, yes, it's
Right.
okay, and then I usually write a letter to the board, and the
Right.
board then
Exactly.
makes a recommendation to the village board.
Correct.
You want to do it, they just do it, and I can tell Elizabeth what the
Yeah.
number is, and I'm okay with that through an email, that's fine.
yeah, I think that works.
We all know based on the approval that all parking, this isn't this isn't a question, we knew from the get-go for this particular approval that all parking had to be street parking, given
Right.
given the location.
Which is allowed there, right.
Don't forget, so there's 2 floors to this, now there's 2 phases, so they're not gonna calculate in that second floor.
Just the first floor.
It's just the first floor, and the lower floor that you're gonna be using. It is a special use permit, so if they.
Decide to use the second
do
floor,
that,
and come back in
they
front of
come
this
back,
board.
right.
They come back. All right, so.
And then the drawings need to be updated to reflect that.
Yeah, the drawings do need to be updated to address my comments, it's pretty,
Right.
you know, the dumpster we had talked
Yeah,
about.
there's really not much of a drawing, I think it's just a basic survey right now.
We had previously waived a lot of it because
Yeah.
Right,
it was no external construction.
Right.
right.
So, we just need notes put on, mostly notes. So the resolution.
Right.
I have prepared for you is, whereas the Village of Monroe granted site plan approval and special use permit approval for the modifications of the existing structure to house a restaurant by resolution dated March 22nd, 2022. And whereas said approval was subject to certain conditions prior to signature. And whereas the applicant has been diligently pursuing the satisfaction of said conditions. Whereas the town of Monroe, as a municipality, issued a permit for interior renovations. Now therefore be it resolved, for the avoidance of doubt as to the continued validity of the planning board's March 22nd, 2022 approval, the Village of Monroe Planning Board hereby finds that the project is still in conformity with the Village of Monroe Code and grants an extension of site plan and special permit approval to run from March 22nd, 2023 to March 22nd, 2024.
Okay, so we need,
Well, did you say there's no outside construction to this?
No,
Correct.
that
And
changed.
What about the fan, the exhaust? Where's that'll be an outside,
you can't show it on the plan. It's not
No,
like,
that has nothing to do with the site plan.
It doesn't have any, okay,
Because
so that's
you
not
can't
considered,
say, here's the building, here's the parking. Normally, a site plan is, here's the building, here's the parking lot, here's the dumpster.
okay,
We can't really show that because
What's
the
internal to,
lot is effectively the size of the building. There's a little sidewalk in front.
yeah, I know.
So we're in an unusual situation because of the nature of the structure.
Right.
And this would apply to any application. So, and what I will say is, if you have a crisis in like March, you could send us a letter March 21 saying, please extend, but please make sure we get a letter that says, please extend the approval. Okay, I need more time, if this doesn't get accomplished by then. Okay.
so, any more discussion on that approval that Elizabeth read in?
No, that's fine by me.
So we need a motion to approve that, as it was read into the record?
I make that motion to approve the extension.
Member Umberto, and a second, and Member Heffinger, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So, Luis, you're good on everything? You have everything you need from us? Questions at all?
Very much, I'm working on those things that she requested, so while we're on it, also we can get
They were
something.
carried out. To the dumpster. Oh, they have dumpster.
Monday, the 29th.
Well,
Well, there is no deadline, because he's,
Yes, that's
he's
Right.
already approved. He has
So, all right.
so it's just
I think
signing
we,
the map,
I know,
right? So as soon as he gets those things,
The faster he gets it to us,
But
the
it is.
faster we get
Yeah, so
everything
you don't
turned.
need a meeting for them, just, we can, those letters and everything.
so what are you gonna do with it?
All this is outside, and I, just so the board's clear, all of this, the letter to the village board is gonna come out, so there's not gonna be a vote on that because we've effectively
Perfect.
voted on that. I'm just waiting for the confirmation of the number.
Right.
Right, for the calculation,
Yeah.
right.
Did they give you a spot for your, like a grease dumpster as well? Do you have a?
That's gonna be at the easement
Easement.
Okay, good,
dumpster.
okay,
There's
so you got
a,
a spot.
there's a grease container within the
They're
dumpster.
gonna be sharing that.
Good, okay, as long as he's got, yeah. I don't
Now,
think-
just on the dumpster, I know you have the easement. He's just, because this applies to both of you guys, if that dumpster starts getting overfilled because there's too many businesses putting into it, you gotta just make sure that all of you empty it at a sufficient frequency that it's not overflowing. And same thing for the grease container. Okay. So I don't know how many pickups there are a week. If it's one pickup, you might need two, okay? Since we're not.
I'm sure he's hoping for that
hopefully you're so
problem.
busy.
He's hoping for that
Well,
problem.
I don't- He's sharing a dumpster with another
Yeah.
business, I don't know what they do, but it just.
They
what
could
I-
do two for them if they needed to.
What?
They could do two for them if they needed to.
I just,
Yeah, for sure.
and the greases of, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as he's got a spot, that's good.
Okay.
Good?
Just another
Okay.
question. When you're talking about parking, let's say the number is 30.
It won't be, but yes.
Where are they gonna get the 30 slots?
Because of the way the businesses are in town, they're assuming people,
Yeah, you're,
Just-
to explain, so your code, because they're in the central business district, where you
Yes.
have this parking along the ponds, parking along the streets, and these buildings are so close, and a lot of these buildings don't have any room for parking. If
Correct.
they all had a parking, there'd be none. So your code basically says for $600 you pay the village for the maintenance of those parking
Yep.
spots, and then you're not actually allocated, but we don't make you put in your own parking, because you could use, you know, he basically, if it's so busy, he could park on the other side of where
right,
the bus station is.
Right, the other side,
I don't
yeah.
remember the name of the park. I don't know.
And the town
the Bourbon Street,
Yeah, so there's all that parking
Yeah.
over there, so they could park there and actually walk through the alley.
Right.
So he doesn't need parking, but he has to pay because the village upkeeps the
Yeah,
downtown.
It's a one-time fee.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a one-time fee, and it's just the maintenance.
Yeah.
and then they're at night too, most of their stuff for the most part.
And it's based upon the square footage of the restaurant area he's using, just like you would have right in your code book. So we're gonna go say he has 5,000 square feet, which he doesn't, you know, you need 15 parking spaces. So, yes, 15 times the 6, whatever, and then the
And
building.
that's just a one-time,
One-time fee.
That's it.
so, That's a good deal.
Goes into the coffer and it's kept here and
Yeah.
it's used to maintain what we have.
Yeah.
So,
Who's he sharing the dumpster with in the grease traps? Which other business is over there?
I think it's Bourbon Street.
Yeah, he owns, it's the guy, the landlord that owns the building,
Oh, so he's
yes,
the one all the way back there?
Yeah.
The one that blocked one. that's-
In the Bourbon parking lot, more or less?
yes.
Oh, okay.
This isn't hard.
That's a bit of a walk for them, but okay, gotcha.
All right. Okay, so we do have one item of new business. We want to talk about 403 Stage Road.
Yep, this is not on the, this is not on the agenda, and we're not taking.
Did you want to do the local laws or the other things that are on this agenda before we do that?
Well, that's-
Or that's up to you?
Yeah, no, we'll just do this one because then it goes into the
Okay, what
local
is it?
calendar change.
403 Stage Road?
403 Stage Road. It's in the Historic Home District.
Okay, so 403 Stage is a designated it's a designated historical property pursuant to your new historic law that was adopted last fall. Jim has issued a violation because the property owner has replaced the railing on the front porch of the home, and he did not come to the Historical Preservation Commission, i.e. us, for a certificate of appropriateness or a determination under the new code that we don't, he didn't need one. I did confirm with Jim that it, in his perception, if it was not in historical district, the work that was done was not building code, i.e. needed a building permit, you know, so we
Right.
took.
Wouldn't have needed it.
He wouldn't have needed a building.
Right. Now they need it because of this, right.
Correct. So the decision, and this is really guidance, there's two sections, okay? In section 200-85, you can decide if what was done was ordinary repair or maintenance. So somebody replacing a shingle, doing something, you guys can make a determination, hey, that's ordinary repair and maintenance, we don't need a certificate of appropriateness. The other option is to say, yes, this was something that required a certificate of, that this requires a certificate of appropriateness, and make them come to us. Now, the hard part is we have a little bit of an application procedure set forth in the code, gives a standard of review for the board. We do need the village board to set a fee schedule. We need an application, so that somebody could apply to, the HPC, all right, for that. So the question for the board is, now what? My recommendation based on the review of the code, and I will, also, seek Jim's input on this. In light of the new code, I would say issue the property owner a notice that he has 30 days to apply to us. We need to get the village board to adopt a fee for that. We can then bring in, the village now has a historian, as part of,
Professional, yeah.
brought in a professional to do that. I would, of course, refer the application to him, and then we can decide.
So Jim, has the homeowner been notified on anything?
You got a violation.
You got a violation for
Okay.
the stop
And
work.
and it's in reference to this new code,
Right,
which now brings it to you.
right. So we don't even have a process from the board at this point.
We have a
So-
process, if somebody submits an application, Jim is saying that he's got somebody that didn't even apply.
Right, because they probably had no idea, I'm guessing.
Which house is this?
I have a broken
Which
rail.
Stage Road across from me, it's up toward
I
Paul.
can show you guys,
by
give me
you.
1 second.
okay.
I can show you guys the,
Right across from the little yellow house up on the hill.
Oh, okay, all
I
right.
can,
Oh, okay.
it is,
Just past the corner.
The brick one? Or the one
No.
past that?
No.
The one on the corner.
It's on the
Oh,
corner?
okay.
Oh, it just sets back, that's all.
The old farmhouse,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
yellow house is on your left,
Yeah.
and this house is on your right.
Yes.
White and green shutters,
I love the house.
barn in the back, that's
Yeah.
it? Barn in the back?
so,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a historic expert, I can tell you,
Which
this
played one
looks
or
like they
something?
went to Lowe's,
Is there a picture of it?
I have a picture.
Oh.
She has a picture, I don't have
Can
it.
it
I
go-
can't, I can't.
I'll get it.
Well, you know what?
No, okay, we wanna
Liz,
see it.
bring your laptop and I'll plug you in.
So, that's the railing.
Oh. Okay.
Now you know why I wrote it.
So there was never one there before, right? There was
No, there was
nothing
a
there.
railing, it was decrepit, right, there was
I
a
don't
railing, it was
think it's been there for a
decrepit
long
and
time.
falling
It's
apart.
a shorter,
Okay.
old, falling apart railing.
Like I said,
You
we
don't
went to
know.
Lowe's or Home Depot, bought
It
them.
wouldn't be building code, right? Probably didn't have the
Right,
right height.
they-
Didn't know anything,
Well,
right?
They
Just,
So-
could replace it.
Does it meet the code, Jim, without this new code? Does it meet the code?
More than likely, this meets the building code.
The building code?
But
That's what we're just saying, the old one probably didn't meet the building code. 'Cause it wasn't-
So as part of the process, though, we're gonna tell somebody, just theoretically, we're gonna tell somebody, they're in violation because they didn't come through the process. Once they come through the process, we can approve or not approve, but what are we basing the approval or not approval on?
So if I pull up the code, give me 1 second.
what style are we?
Right.
Right.
So then, now you get the historian that's gonna weigh in on that.
But if I understand it, as she's looking at the code, would you correct me, if it's considered replacement slash repair, they don't have to fill out an application, they don't have to come in front of this board.
If it's matching what was there.
Right.
So this is just because it's new.
It has to be exactly
It has to be
what's
exactly.
there, but
So what if it's, and I don't know if this is the case, I'm just asking, what if that railing, because it could have been there at one time, just like, remember the whole thing we did over with Mitts on
Oh, yeah.
West Haven? It was there at one point,
What was there, what wasn't there?
Right.
So there's always been a railing here, right? No, there's no argument about this house, there's always been a railing. The historic railing was much shorter, and honestly, wouldn't be.
probably didn't meet code, right?
Wouldn't meet today's
well,
code.
it was so deteriorated that the insurance company for the house that he got.
Wouldn't insure us.
Made them
Do it.
replace the railing as part of the insurance policy.
Right, so under normal circumstances, what we're saying is, if it was not the historical district, that would have sufficed and there's nothing needed.
Jim wouldn't issue a permit, you wouldn't see it. If this would happen
Right.
2 months ago,
So in this case, if they go under that, they could show us a picture like Tim Mitz did and said, this has always been there. We just didn't have it there for the last couple of years or whatever it was. It's a replacement.
Well, I actually saw him putting it up. I should have stopped working.
No, but it's a replacement of, what I'm saying, if there was one there historically, and they put this one in, and they're saying it was a replacement,
So,
now what?
so there is, you know, the code does specify the items that need to be listed and, you know, what needs to be submitted as part of the application. And then upon submission of a complete application, you'll have the authority, without public hearing and notice, one, to determine whether the proposed work constitutes ordinary maintenance and repair for which a certificate of appropriateness is not required. Approve work which is considered replacement in kind. Approve work that is of any other type that has been previously determined by the HPC to be appropriate for delegation to staff.
way to pass the buck.
But we haven't delegated anything to staff yet, because we haven't really done anything yet.
I just passed it.
There's a circular thing going on here.
That works.
You need to determine if it's appropriate.
If you do determine, and I'm not, if you do determine that this is not replacement in kind, or that this is not ordinary maintenance, and you say, okay, yes, a certificate of appropriateness is required, there would be public notice and a public hearing. And then, after the public hearing, you will approve with conditions or deny the certificate of appropriateness, and then you'll say why.
So just expand that. So obviously, this is pretty much the first to replacement in kind. But the reason is there, if this guy had taken off his entire deck and put a polka dotted metal vinyl deck in its place, then I think this becomes much more appropriate.
Right, it's a
and
clear,
It's a little clearer than this one. This is kind of a.
Well, this is obviously treated lumber that was bought at Lowe's that wasn't there in 1945, does not match in the
Right.
house. Yes, pretty obvious.
But then there's questions
But-
of things like, is Trex decking but looks consistent with the,
So-
you know, things,
This
those,
is where it comes into where you guys need to make
Yeah.
a
right, so
decision.
here's the problem, that we're flying blind. We have no, like, you know, booklet, no guidelines, there's no model, there's no booklet that we say you can choose from these four things in a home that's built between 1850. You know, we don't have that, so somebody's gonna look at it and say, looks okay to me, is it safe? And somebody else is gonna say, it looks terrible on that house. And somebody's gonna say, and who gets to say?
so
And then the owner gets like really
I
upset.
think what unfortunately fortunately or unfortunately, talk about passing the buck, this is where you bring in your,
Tom,
like, and we're gonna pick on Mr. Mitz again tonight, you know, they weren't sure, so they brought in,
Chippo,
no, not
No,
SHPO, they
it's
brought a
historic
Oh, yeah.
historic architect
right.
to issue determinations, and that's what you're gonna end up doing on these types of applications.
So I think,
Ron
when-
is right, it's a relatively, in the grand scheme of things, small, but it's a test
it's a
case.
test kit,
Good
right,
starting
it's,
point.
and probably it's a good, to do it right away, like it's happening, because it needs definition, and it doesn't have it.
Obviously, when there's, you know, somebody wants to take an 1800s house and, you know, add a huge addition, you know, and you've seen, I've seen, you know, gorgeous historic houses and then a very modern or contemporary addition on it, on purpose, you know, whatever that, so that's where, and yes, you have a lot of flexibility here.
I was gonna put an observation deck on my house. See what happens.
A widow's walk?
Watching the ships, you know. So, yeah, I think, I mean, the village board has to weigh in, but it's, we need some kind of,
Reference.
like Ted, I'm trying to remember the name of that thing that he sent us from Tivoli.
Guidelines?
The design, it is, but it's actually their town designed something that said, if you're gonna build in the, you know, downtown section, this is what it has to look like. Any of these designs you can use.
Well, didn't Montebello do something like this?
Yeah, I think a lot of places do.
Okay, so we could somehow see what they've got written up, I'm sure.
Yeah,
they had
the
that
problem is every
somewhere.
city's a little bit different, so I think somebody like this guy, you know, this new professional we have, Tom, could potentially put something together for us.
Oh, he probably has something, if he's, you know, he's probably done this someplace else before, he may have a good idea of what,
So,
to
just so
start
you
us,
know-
at least to get us in the right direction.
Just so you know, one of your powers,
Ooh, I like that.
general and advisory powers. The HPC shall from time to time recommend to the village board additional criteria to be adopted in local law to be used when evaluating applicants for certificate of appropriateness.
In addition to what? To nothing?
You can create guidelines.
So if we just walk down the road, we walk out here, we just walk down towards his house, there's probably 15 houses on either side that have decks or porches that we can look at, right, that are probably
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
compliance.
there's some that are,
With an
sure.
architectural spindle or something, I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but, and if we kind of use that as a reference, then we go with them and say, it needs to look like this to proceed.
That's, so consistency and harmony with the character of,
Prior photos of the house.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Photos of what the railing look like, and that's
So-
kind of what you want to keep.
again, you have two choices. You can determine that it was
See, I think a letter, you know what I think? A letter has to go out to everybody in the historic district to say,
If you change.
listen, if you're gonna change something, you need to, this guy just spent whatever money he spent
Mm-hmm.
to go do that, not knowing there was anything.
That should have been done when they did the law. but it
Right.
didn't happen.
Right.
So,
But to move along, I think at this point, he has to fill out an application. I think is the first step, and then he's gonna come from you and
make his case.
then make his
Okay,
case.
so this is where we're at, though. I already sent him a notice of violation, and he has not done anything.
But did you tell him what to do, Jim? Like what?
It's in the notice of violation that they have to contact the planning board. But it's-
and he has not contacted us.
No, so now the next step is the village board is the one in this law that has to authorize to go to legal action through our attorney. It's not me.
Right.
So you have contact the village board, who then the village attorney is gonna start legal action.
When did we-
So if that's the direction you need to go, that's the only step you have. You're forced to here.
I think we need to give him a little more time here and maybe get another notice over to him or something, and certified letter or something else. I don't
I'll
know.
take a letter from you guys probably, but.
Yeah, maybe.
That needs to come from what's.
Is there a time frame on his response or her response?
December 15th.
So the letter that went out, the violation letter
He had
has,
10 days, he had 10 days, but didn't even, so he didn't contact us at all.
yeah, it's right around Christmas time.
Somebody called about a new railing. I told them where to get the application forms and everything, but they didn't give me address and name, nothing.
You get their
So that's
application,
not-
You don't even have an application.
Right.
You have a planning board application, but it doesn't address.
Right,
where
so,
the
yeah.
schedule is.
So they can come in and get an application, but this is the wrong application.
Well, why don't we get a letter out right away, saying that, like, to everybody who was in the district, that, letting them know. Because this won't happen again, because then they'll think twice before they start something.
I feel like this is what happens at Congress all the time.
Yeah, right, and then, oh, you know, we really should be doing this after we come up to something like this, but I think that's one of the first things that has to be done, is a letter has to go out.
I'm hesitant to go, racing the court because he didn't respond.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm just
In
letting
the
you know
holidays.
what your steps are, so.
I honestly,
I
the
think, it's a-
application is easy. I can put together a form based on the statute, based on the local law, and I can just put that in form. You don't even need it.
because we're asking him to do something that he can't do because we're not providing it. That's
Well, no,
government
he
at
could-
its
he could
best.
submit- No, he could submit a letter, he could submit a package that had, the law does tell him what is needed.
But we don't have what is needed. The application we have doesn't address this particular
You don't
thing.
need a specific form. You don't need necessarily a specific form. The law says what needs to be submitted. He could send a cover letter, dear HPC, enclosed please find,
But then what if he asks, what could my railing look like? What's the answer for him? Do we have an answer for that?
No,
That's the biggest problem.
To a small homeowner.
it's the next biggest problem.
No, we don't know.
So, here's the thing.
This is
I would,
completely backwards, but normally happens, it's not.
I would, in light of the fact that, one, this is the first case, we need to recommend to the village board a fee for the application itself, because the village board needs to adopt the fee, we can't. I can make the application form, that's easy, because the law tells us what needs to be submitted, right? And that I can do tomorrow, that's not a big deal. But we don't have authority to set the fee. And let me just double check the law and make sure I'm not missing something. Shall read for all reasonable and necessary, okay. This has reimbursement 288-88, reimbursement of costs, expenses. The applicant for review of any application set forth in this article shall reimburse the village for all of the village's reasonable and necessary architectural, historic, and related fees and expenses incurred by the village in connection with review of the application. Said fees are deemed application fees. It is not clear whether there's an additional fee on top. So like normally we have a fee and then an escrow to pay the consultants.
Mhm.
That's, so are we just paying the consultants and not charging a fee on top of that?
This guy's really gonna be bad. Paid all this material, then I'm gonna pay an application fee, then I'm gonna pay it an escrow fee, then I'm gonna pay,
That's why the generic letter has to go out to everyone in the historic district. The application fee has to be an attachment, the application form, and a fee. even if it's $10.
You see a lot of fires starting.
Doesn't matter.
No, I
We
mean,
wasted enough time here tonight talking about this.
Okay, so you want me to draft a letter to the village board recommending?
not design guidelines unless they,
Just get it done.
Well,
well,
so letter out, so I'm gonna draft, I'm going to, hold on, recommendations to the village board.
You don't want a $500 fee? The 2 pieces of wood that he put on the deck cost $10.
a little more than that,
Maybe
but
5 years ago.
a little more than that.
Recommendations to village board, set fee, do we have a recommendation as to a fee?
What's our application fee now?
It depends on what kind
And
of.
this is just for like a,
What's the minimum?
Hold on,
we can make a minimum.
Jim, what's like a shed?
We can make it $100.
How much?
Like a shed fee, shed, I'm just curious.
Make it $50.
Yeah, I would say $50.
Plus 50 cents a square foot.
Yeah, yeah, okay, so something like
So
that.
recommend $50 plus the
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
Because trust me, once we start getting historic architects in here.
No, I get, no, I get it. We can always change the fee later. I don't want to do this when we don't know what we're doing, we're causing them to come. You know, it's gonna be like,
With linear foot as well, or just $50?
Fees,
The village board is paying the guy, right?
$55, you won't get anybody.
fees are on the board.
no, that's why I say you'll see houses burning down.
What's that, Joe? What you say?
The village board is paying the historian.
No, they have,
Paul, Jeff?
Yeah, well, our costs get passed, they get passed on. You know what I mean?
Those are-
That's why you do escrow, so it gets passed on.
Send letter to all affected properties. Notifying them of law.
These are all 200, but yeah.
There's a $25 one there. Right under the new application, under per occupancy dwelling unit, over 2 units.
Oh.
Now, when we
There's a
do this
50
and they get the permit, do
Yeah, I
they
would
come
just
to
go-
you for the
I would say we do
guidelines,
$50.
Jim?
We can change this anytime
Do
we
they
want to
come
change
to
it.
you for the
We
guidelines?
can't.
We can't, yeah, right.
It's fine.
If they want to do work like a
I
railing,
need a number.
do you have to
I
tell
would
them
say
what type of
$50.
railing?
Okay, fine.
Or do they have to come to us and we tell
We're
them?
good.
I have no idea, this is.
This is all new?
I have no
Okay,
idea.
all right.
So, and normally we don't spend time talking about it.
So, and this is going to the village board, right?
I'm gonna draft a letter for your signature, Jeff.
So then we should ask them too, that a letter go out to every,
That's what,
Okay.
that's in my list.
okay, explaining the process, you know, or, and what they need to do, and, you know, so they have some idea, if I replace a railing, if I replace, because then they're gonna be wondering, what am I going to, for the permit for? You know what I
Right,
mean, like, what constitutes a permit?
right,
So, yeah, I think it,
okay. All right,
Yeah.
any other recommendations?
Now, this is everything for outside the house, not, doesn't,
I think it's inside too.
Mm.
it's nothing inside.
I don't know, well, for the planning board, it normally wouldn't be, but this is a new board, and I don't know what the new board criteria.
Yeah, you're just acting as the board, this is your new job.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, then it may go inside the house.
Site plan, this is, all has to do with the
Right.
historical review.
It's just outside.
No, we don't
I
know.
believe it's inside. too.
Hold on,
That's-
let me,
So we need a clarification from the board if it's not in there, Liz.
I don't know how I would find out anybody's doing anything inside the house, but.
okay, hold on. I think it applies, hold on.
Yeah.
Jim, do you go inside the houses? You ride by, I want to go inside that house.
You're not allowed to.
If
There you go.
if they say you can,
There you go.
So if they apply for, if they're good citizens and apply for a permit, if they're redoing the bathroom,
Right.
then he would kick it here. But randomly, if they're just painting
It's
walls.
exterior changes.
exterior changes.
There you go.
If
Right, so that's all we care about.
Approval or disapproval of proposals
Exactly.
for exterior
That's a lot
changes.
easier.
Exactly. Let's start there.
Or, so,
Can't have an or, we're done.
no. It's exterior alteration, restoration, reconstruction, demolition, which you'll also see,
Yeah,
new construction, or to move a historic house.
to move the whole house. Yeah,
Back it up, put it on a truck and.
I think that's worth a permit.
So,
So my only other question would be, when they do all this, then they say, okay, so what is my criteria, what is my reference, what can I do? What do we have for them for that?
Design guideline, we need some criteria. Now, that'll probably have to be created, the board's not gonna do that, they're not gonna have that either. So they're gonna say, call your professional historical,
Then we're gonna be
right, but
creative.
then they're telling us to do that, that's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna be creative.
Yeah, which is
And
fine.
we're gonna say, what are the, I want a picture of what it looked like before.
But if they don't have it?
And if they don't have it, then we look at all the houses around it.
Right.
here's your standard.
Just like you said, you walk down the block, you take 10 pictures, this is what it has to look like.
Acceptable.
So go ahead.
Here's your standard. You shall approve the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness only if you determine that the proposed work will not have a substantial adverse effect on the aesthetic, historical, or architectural significance and the value of the individual landmark, or if the proposed work is within a historic district, proposed work will not have a substantial adverse effect on the aesthetic, historical, or architectural significance of the property itself, the district, or the neighboring property within the district.
So an applicant is supposed to know that? Or is that an enforcement thing when they see it?
It is very subjective.
That didn't get us any closer to it.
Great answer.
That is the i.e., is it ugly?
Right.
The
Then they come back with beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Well,
You
but
guys did review this.
And we reviewed it, we made our comments, and they obviously didn't have any effect.
all right. So yes, one of the things we can do as the HPC is to create design standards or have somebody else create design standards. You have to be a little careful because you don't want to get too
Just to
down a rabbit hole.
drive this even deeper, although why I do this, I don't know, but. Because you can use outside consultants, right? You had Jeff Wilkerson, which I think this board had used
I don't know.
for, or you can use it, you could refer this, like just somebody comes with a deck, realistically, you could refer to a historian and
Right.
an architect and say, hey, is this historically, and he could give you comments. So rather than trying to have design guides that's gonna fit the entire historic district, which is gonna, I think, be very difficult, maybe do it on an individual basis.
It's the 10 minutes review. That's, as of right now, that's about as close as you're gonna, is where we send the project off. The person writes us an opinion letter. If this either this doesn't conform, or this does conform with the era, the style, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And that'll be an applicant's job, particularly in the architectural realm. When an architect is coming in and proposing a renovation or a change to a house, that'll be your architect's job to explain to this board why that conforms to the historical standards of the district.
I guess the village is gonna have to say something to them, like, if you're making any changes to the outside of the house, you might wanna come to the planning board to see. Do you know what I mean? Because
Is that what this?
right, because if it's the actual thing though is if it's substantial. And then how do you know unless you go to the,
Whether it's registered or not, right? Whether it's
Right.
registered or not doesn't make a difference if it's registered.
well, if you're in a
or historic
historical
society.
district,
Anything in this historical district is.
Comes under that.
Except for the ones that are outside the district.
Then it's individual.
They're individually, but they have to be on the historical register.
This house is
Right,
both, this
okay.
house is both, it's in the district
Yeah,
and
it's both.
listed.
Oh, it is both, okay.
It's
Yeah.
both. It's listed and it's in the district.
Gotcha, it is,
It just has to be listed, eligible.
right.
Doesn't even have to be.
It's just eligible.
Just eligible.
right, not on the list, but it's eligible to be. Okay,
So
Okay,
it satisfies both criteria.
yep.
okay.
So I have my marching orders. Jeff will draft a letter. I have another meeting tomorrow night, so probably Thursday.
Yep.
And then Jim, he's on hold.
I'm not doing anything until I hear from you
Okay.
guys.
So if you would pass that picture, those photos off to Jeff Wilkinson,
What pictures?
the ones that Elizabeth
Well, I
has.
don't wanna, are we,
No, to send it to the historical, to get ahead of it, if these people are gonna come to us.
That's gonna cost you money, I don't know.
I would hold off until this person makes the application.
yeah.
He's not cheap.
Yeah, okay.
But we could just take a walk down and take pictures ourselves and see what.
No, it's him reviewing it.
Let's take in general though, like for
Oh, yeah.
reference,
But that may evaluate between now and our next meeting, that exercise of walking down the street and seeing what you see may facilitate your exercise, like, hey, every other house has the exact same railing, we're gonna
Right.
treat this as an in-kind replacement, no
Yeah.
certificates necessary, or you may go, yep, that's the ugly one on the street.
Yeah.
You'll know,
You're right.
you'll know.
So can we send another letter to the homeowner? It was December, it was,
I'd like to, so, I don't, you have a chicken and an egg problem. I don't have a fee or anything for him to do. We could send the homeowner a letter that he is to do no further work and his violation is being held in abeyance. And I can draft that letter.
or we just wait 2 weeks, see if he shows up, and if he doesn't, we'll get our stuff done?
Well, I can't go, you need to apply.
No,
We're not ready to receive the
no,
application.
I totally get that. I'm just saying, I
We
think,
sit on it for 2 weeks.
yeah, we sit on it for 2 weeks, get what we need
Right.
Yeah, all
done.
right, so I'm gonna send, I'll have that letter drafted for Thursday. All right, and then, next,
Good. Okay, new local law, you're gonna walk through these, Elizabeth? Deduct constrained lands from lot area, that one in constrained lands?
yeah, we talked about this at our, we talked about this at our, work session.
Thanks, Jim.
See you, Jim.
Can I,
So I did two things. I uploaded, the draft local law with a markup to try to reflect all of your conversations. John was concerned about, do we count existing retention? So I just added the word existing. So if it's an existing retention, you can't rely on it, but if it's not there yet, you can keep it. Does that make sense? If there's no retention pond when you start the process, you're allowed to use that land.
Yes.
That's the way again, some of the recommendations, I'm recommending that it not apply to single-family dwellings if they've had their building permit issued before and the local law was introduced on, January 2nd. So I have to I'll update that date. I did confirm with, Attorney Turkey that it was okay. And then I also added this, Village Law 7709, which is the 3-year grandfather from when you file a subdivision
So wait, the
plan.
constraint, real quick, Elizabeth, the constrained lands law there, does that,
See the draft local law PD markup? That's my red line.
oh, I see, okay. All right, so does, that site come under us across from the first aid squad? Is that gonna be, that'll be impacted by this?
Which one? Ramapo. It's gonna be severely impacted. Now, what about that, Army Corps of Engineers letter that allowed them to fill in that land?
That's a distinct and separate issue.
From a
So,
different project?
well,
But
they have federal approvals.
they're allowed to fill in that land because of what they gave up in Harriman.
Right.
Correct, but from this board's point of view, if that was a wetland, that would be subtracted out of their base calculation. Now, you don't care what they did in Harriman, you don't care about the Army Corps permit.
Right.
Based upon this law, there were wetlands,
Yes, there is.
they're subtracted out of his net area.
Right.
That, and they're supposed to locate.
I agree with that, but now, what happens if that gentleman, the developer, as he was developing, again, this developer's risk, the law changed,
Mhm.
he didn't get his permits in properly, et cetera, he loses.
Yep.
Now, can he come at us via law?
I'm gonna defer to, anybody can come at you for a law.
Right.
But it was properly noticed, it was adopted, it was,
Could he sue us? Absolutely.
Can they
Anybody
win?
sue-
when I
Who knows?
doubt it.
Could he sue the village for the local law and challenge it?
That's where-
Absolutely, that's in Article 78. Whether he, you know, wins or not, that's up to the judge, but, you know, anybody can sue anybody, it's whether it has any merit. Lots of municipalities have constrained lands deduction, so the concept of deducting constrained lands or prohibiting development, this is nothing new.
It's not unusual.
Okay, so you were gonna read through here and give us your red lines? I mean, I see the red lines. You-
Okay, so I just wanted to point out the red lines. More importantly, if you look at PD, the document labeled PD review in Word, this is a letter that I have drafted for Jeff's signature. And I do have some blanks to fill in, but this is in draft, okay? With respect, and I'll summarize here, we go through our 4 statutory questions. Whether the change is consistent with the aims and principles embodied in the chapter as to the particular district's concerned. Pursuant to 202, which is the purpose section of the zoning code, is giving is giving effects to the policies and proposals of the village's comprehensive master plan. This is an element of the comprehensive plan, and protecting and preserving the natural ecological structure, scenic qualities, and historic character of the village. And I wrote the proposed local law conforms with said purpose. And then which areas, land uses, buildings, establishments, and the building will be directly affected by such change, and in what way will they be affected? These changes will affect the relatively few vacant areas in the village and redevelopment of already constructed sites. It will not prohibit existing homes and businesses on existing lots with environmental constraints, as they will be permitted to continue as pre-existing nonconformities. Now I'll have to fix that typo. The local law will result in less developable area in the village. Sites with environmental constraints will either need to reduce the scale, I didn't finish that sentence, I'm sorry about that. Will either need to reduce the scale of the project or the number of units. I did include a statement here. We note the following project, sorry for the typo, should be exempt from local law, and I have 310 Scunnamunk subdivision, and the Q. Pretty much, and the reason I did those was all of our other big projects are built.
Yeah.
Smith Farms is built out in the village, all those, that's done. I don't think there's any other, any other big projects that we've approved that would be affected by that, because Spring Street's already built.
Well, site plans don't count, right?
Site plans do count,
So you have the queue.
that's, I have the queue listed. The indirect implication of such change in its effect on other regulations, the impact of the local law will be to reduce the overall development capacity of the village. And then whether such proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, they call it out straight in the law, it's P 2.11. And then in addition, planning board wishes to make the following additional comments. The planning board discussed whether deviations from the requirements of the local law should be via variance or waiver. To make the language more clear, we recommend adding the words from the zoning board of appeals to make clear that that's ZBA, not a planning board. I discussed the retention and why we added so essentially make sure it is clear that it's existing detention and retention ponds. We envision a scenario where an area is free of environmental constraints prior to development, but would then be developed into a detention basin as part of a project. In such situation, such land area should not be deducted from developable area. The planning board recommends that projects that have been issued a building permit prior to the introduction of the local law be exempt, so long as that permit remains valid, rather than reliance on a certificate of occupancy. The property owner could be forced to change plans mid-construction. If the local law is adopted in its current form. So right now, it only grandfathers at single-family houses if they have a certificate of occupancy, but you could have had somebody that pulled a permit in October. You know, they're 2/3 of the way through construction, and we want to declare that they will not be affected.
And only for 3 years, though.
No, that's a different,
Oh, that's not for that.
yeah. Look, if they let their building permit lapse and they don't fix it for 2 or 3 years, you snooze, you lose.
If the
But
queue doesn't build for 3 years.
We can include a limitation. But, and then we have incorporated the 3-year grandfathering clause as set forth in the builder's law, set forth in the code. These recommendations are incorporated in the closed red line for the board's consideration. And then I have a for Jeff's signature.
Any comments on that? I think it's a good law. You know?
No, that's good.
I agree.
All right.
And then you just want me to, I'm just gonna say should be exempt from the local law for a reasonable period of time
Right.
as to, I'm less worried about 310 County Monk, that'll be built.
Yeah. Otherwise, you guys are good with the letter?
Yeah.
You sent it? Okay.
Good.
Okay, so I will clean up my typos and,
Okay.
send that to Jeff for signature.
Okay.
Okay. Can I just get a motion to approve the letter?
Yep. We need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Member Hefnecker, Member Berto, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, we'll write the letter. What's the next one you want to do?
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
There's only one,
Yep, okay. All right. So,
don't scare me.
all right, so the calendar changes are obvious from what's written there. February 12th is a holiday. Village is closed. February
12th.
We made a special meeting, which is the 12th. So
Well, the
they-
12th is closed,
Oh,
and
the
the
end of the
special
month,
meeting
sorry.
should be the 27th.
Right.
I'm
20
sorry, I didn't put that date.
And that'll be a regular and workshop meeting.
Right,
So it'd be, our next meeting is February 27.
correct.
Correct. You know, don't get excited about all your time off.
So we're going to have a special meeting in February,
Yes.
November, and December.
And November, right, because it's on Veterans Day.
Right,
And then you're changing the submission date for May because it fell on Memorial Day, so.
Correct.
The day before. What did you put for there?
probably the day after. I don't remember. I will,
So you put two,
hold
oh,
on.
these
No,
are
I
for the
don't have it.
minutes.
This is, yeah.
It just didn't say. I would do it the day before then rather than,
Yeah, it doesn't,
it's always better, because no, the day before would be a Sunday then.
right. So it'd have to be the day after, the Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Okay. And did everyone read the minutes?
Done.
Okay, so we just need to approve the minutes, so we need a motion to approve the August 23, 2023 minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Brian Nucci, and second.
Second.
Member Umberto, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they're approved. November 13th minutes, need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Member Hefnecker, and
Hold on.
Marilyn, you want to get in there for anything?
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, so Marilyn will second that one. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? November 28th minutes?
I'll make the motion.
All right.
Yeah, she jumped in there.
I'll second it.
Okay, Member Iannucci, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion for adjournment?
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait,
Wait.
Hang on.
There's a couple of things. Who was 1128, first and second?
It was Marilyn,
On the first, yeah.
and it was Barbara.
Okay, and can you open up the meeting to public comment, please?
And I'd like to open the meeting to public comment at this point.
Thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Thomas Ollie, for the record. I am a consultant, professional engineer representing the Middletown YMCA. Submitted a letter. We understand that the public comment period the written comment period has ended, so we're, not offering any additional comment. We just want to thank the board, first of all, for giving us that extra time through the holidays. We tried to make a very complete review of the documents that were submitted and to provide the substance to which to give to the applicant. As Ross said, Ross Pacelli, the CEO of the Middletown YMCA, is with me also. As Ross said at the last meeting in November that we appeared before, we're not against development of the project. We just want everybody to play nicely in the sandbox together. I think we've brought forth certain things that may have been overlooked by the applicant, and we stand ready to, at the board's disposal, to meet at any time that you would request of us, and again, just thank you. Being in the profession, I understand the seeker process, and we're in a time now that can actually fly very quickly, depending on how quickly the applicant, the project sponsor, gets the FEIS back to you, and then you have 10 to 30 days in which to act. And the only thing that I would ask for clarification was the public hearing that you had. Was that only for the seeker aspect of it, or was it also for the site plan / SEU? Was it a combined, or will they have to come back for that?
It was combined.
I think it's combined. I don't think they have to come back for a second public meeting,
Okay, so.
public
Did
hearing.
we keep it open though? Didn't we do it?
No, we kept it open, but it's closed. No, it
Kept it
didn't,
open for written.
for written.
And
not-
written-
Yeah, we didn't continue the meeting.
And the
just-
deadline
just the
for
comments.
written was January 16th.
Right,
And we
so
did
those are done.
receive the written comments from the YMCA, from Aspire, from a person who belongs to the YMCA, and the historical person, the town historian. No, sorry.
Nelson?
That's different project. That's
Oh,
for
oh,
Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center, sorry, wrong person. The comments were put on the OneDrive. It says, 208 comments, so everybody can review them. The link to the comments was sent to the applicants for professionals. So that's where we are in that.
And to address it.
Right, so now we're waiting, the applicant,
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but when he does come back, things can happen very quickly.
Right.
That you would have to do your finding statement and make your determination as to what has to be done to obtain the site plan approval. So we're prepared to jump in and help with clarifying anything as that approaches, and we offer, our involvement with it. And as I say, we're not looking to block anybody. We identified certain things that I think the board would agree may have been overlooked by the applicant in their preparation. So again, thank you. We appreciate the extra time that by extending it to the 16th.
16th.
So, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And I think the girls in the back are here for an assignment for school.
Ladies,
You have to,
would you like to address the board for any reasons whatsoever?
You just need your sheet signed, okay? I'll sign them.
Approved.
the last group that came had a really bad,
See you later.
the last group that came had a really bad meeting, and it was just, no, it was like 15 minutes, and they got nothing out of it, and there was like 7 of them.
Here, make Jeff sign them.
Why, is there something on there that you're not?
It says board member. Some schools I sign them, as village. It says like official or whatever. What is They have it for school. I see these all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
It's a kind of thing, yeah.
So what did you guys think of the meeting?
I've had Boy Scouts.
Do you have mock meetings, or discuss what would be discussed here? I'm just curious. This isn't a quiz.
So what is the, what's the class? What class is it?
Government, yeah.
So,
Well, you're welcome anytime.
You did good, you didn't fall asleep. That's a big plus. I was impressed.
I almost fell asleep.
when the Boy Scouts.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Now the last, what are we gonna
We
do?
have to adjourn. So we need a motion to
First,
adjourn.
second?
I'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
And,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I already put the vote in.
Oh, wait. Carmen, do you want to make an introduction?
I do. I would, would you like to, Jeff?
No, that's fine.
Okay.